me ask you something. Have you ever studied English for weeks, maybe months, and still felt like you could not say one sentence with confidence?
Like the words are all there, somewhere in your head, but the moment you need them, they disappear.
That exact feeling is what we are talking about today.
That was me for almost a full year. I was studying, I was not lazy, but something was wrong and I did not know what.
If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you. Today, we cover the real reasons English learners get stuck. And for every problem, we give you a solution you can use today.
I wish someone had given me this on day one. Let's get into it.
The first problem, and the most common one, is this. People study English, but never actually speak it.
They read, they do grammar exercises, they memorize words, but they never open their mouth and make real sounds.
That was my entire first year, Sarah. I had notebooks full of grammar rules. I knew what a past perfect tense was, but ask me to order a coffee in English, I would freeze completely.
And that gap between knowing the rules and actually speaking is one of the most painful places a learner can be.
Because you feel like you should be able to do it. You have studied. But studying English and speaking English are two completely different skills.
Reading about swimming doesn't teach you to swim.
Exactly. So why do people still not speak? Most learners already know they need to, but they still don't.
Fear. It's always fear. Fear of sounding wrong, fear of being judged, fear of not finding the words in time.
That fear is real. But here's the truth. It doesn't go away by studying more. It goes away by speaking more.
Every time you speak, even badly, the fear gets a little smaller.
I remember the first time I spoke English to a real stranger. I was at an airport. Someone asked me for directions. My hands were shaking, but I answered, just 2 sentences. And I did it.
How did it feel after?
Like I had crossed some invisible line, like something had shifted inside me. That feeling, that's what every learner is working toward.
So, what's the solution? What can someone do today?
Start speaking with zero audience. Talk to yourself. Describe what you see around you right now. Tell yourself what you did this morning. No pressure, no judgment.
And that actually works. After 2 weeks of narrating my own day out loud, speaking to real people felt so much less scary.
Your action. Every morning, say 5 sentences in English out loud. About anything, just 5. That one habit done every day will change your relationship with speaking within a month. Sarah, can we talk about vocabulary? I used to spend hours on word lists. 50 words, sometimes 100.
And a week later?
Almost all of them gone, like they were never there.
The word list trap. People treat vocabulary like a test. Memorize, translate, move on. But that's not how the brain stores words.
How does the brain actually store words?
It stores words that have meaning attached to them, not just a definition, a feeling, a moment, a real context. Without that, the word just doesn't stick.
That explains so much. I learned the word exhausted because someone looked at me after a long journey and said, "You look exhausted." I've never forgotten it.
The word arrived with emotion and a real moment. That's why it stayed.
So what should someone do instead of word lists?
Pick just 5 words this week, only 5. For each word, hear it in a real sentence, say it in your own sentence, and use it at least once during the day.
5 words sounds almost too few. But when you truly own those 5 words, when they come out without thinking, that's worth so much more than 50 words you half remember.
And here's something that'll change how you think about vocabulary. The most important English words aren't the impressive ones. They're the small, common ones. Words like get, take, make, go, come, put.
Those seem almost too simple, though.
That's the trap. Let's take just one, get. I get it means I understand. I get tired means I become tired. I'll get food means I will go and buy it. Did you get my message means did you receive it. Get up means rise from bed.
One word, 5 completely different meanings, all used every single day.
Context always makes the meaning clear. Trust your ear. It learns faster than you think.
Sarah, I studied textbook English for a long time. Then I watched my first regular English film, just a normal film, not for learners, and I understood almost nothing.
It feels like a completely different language, and in a way, it is.
How? It's still English, right?
Textbook English is clean, slow, perfectly pronounced. Real English is fast, connected, and full of shortcuts no classroom ever teaches.
What kind of shortcuts? Give us real examples.
You learn going to in class. Real speakers say gonna. Want to becomes wanna, have to becomes have to, did you sounds like didya.
The first time someone said gonna to me, I had no idea what word they said. I went home and looked it up. I felt embarrassed that something so common had confused me.
Don't feel embarrassed, feel informed. These are not mistakes. This is how natural speech works.
What's the solution? Listen to real English every day. Not learner English, real English. Films, series, podcasts, YouTube. Anything where real people speak naturally.
But at first, you miss so much. It can feel pointless.
Your ear is adjusting every time you listen, even when it doesn't feel like it. With 20 minutes daily, most learners notice a real shift within 4 to 6 weeks.
And the tip to make listening more effective? Use English subtitles, not your own language. When you read in your native language, your brain switches off from the English. With English subtitles, your eye and ear work together. That combination accelerates learning dramatically.
Grammar. I know so many learners obsessed with getting it right before they even open their mouth. Is that hurting them?
It is one of the biggest obstacles I see. The intention is good. People want to sound correct, but worrying about grammar while speaking is like trying to drive while reading the instruction manual.
I would stop mid-sentence trying to remember whether to use was or were. By the time I figured it out, the conversation had moved on. The moment was gone.
And that freezing is more damaging than the grammar mistake itself. It teaches your brain to associate speaking with anxiety.
So, what is the right relationship with grammar?
Think of grammar as a map. You study the map before the journey, but when you're actually driving, you drive. You do not stare at the map the whole time.
Study grammar separately, but do not carry it into the conversation.
Exactly. And here's something surprising. Native English speakers make grammar mistakes too, all the time. What matters is being understood. Communication is the goal, not perfection.
The practical action?
Learn one grammar structure per week, just one. Make 10 sentences with it, then let it go into your speaking naturally. One structure deeply practiced every week will take you further than 5 studied shallowly.
There's a specific type of learner I want to talk about. The one who understands a lot, can read English, can follow conversations, but when it's their turn to speak, they go quiet.
The silent learner. I know this person very well.
They have the knowledge. Why can't they produce it?
The problem is not knowledge. It's a broken connection between what they know and what they can produce under pressure.
Why does pressure do that?
When we feel watched or judged, the brain slows down. Memory becomes less accessible. Words that were easy at home suddenly feel locked away. It's a biological response, not a language problem.
So how do you fix it?
3 things. First, shadowing. You listen to a native speaker and repeat immediately, copying the sounds, rhythm, and speed. You're not creating, you're reproducing. No pressure.
I did shadowing for 1 month, and the change in my pronunciation was extraordinary. I started sounding natural without even trying. What's the second thing?
Record yourself for 60 seconds every day. No script, just talk about your day, then listen back.
I resisted this for months, but when I finally compared a recent recording to one from 3 months ago, the difference was undeniable. It made me want to keep going more than anything else had.
Old you versus current you, that comparison is one of the most powerful motivators you can give yourself. The third thing is rehearsed conversations.
What does that mean exactly?
Take a common situation. Ordering food, meeting someone, asking for help. Practice it out loud alone. Say the question and the answer. Play both roles. When it happens in real life, your brain has already been there. The panic is much smaller.
Something that held me back for a long time, learning completely alone. No English-speaking friends, no class, no community. Progress felt slow and sometimes very lonely.
Language is fundamentally social. It exists to connect people. Learning it in complete isolation, you're missing the entire point of what you're practicing.
But not everyone has English speakers nearby. What do you do?
The internet changed everything. You can find language exchange partners online, people who speak English and want to learn your language. You practice together. You can join online communities of learners who meet and talk.
The language exchange idea, I wish I had known earlier. Speaking to someone who is also learning removes so much pressure. You both make mistakes, no judgment because you both understand the struggle.
Shared struggle creates real connection. Speaking to any real person reminds you what language is actually for.
Around the 6th month mark, something changed for me. Early on, progress felt fast. Every week I could feel improvement. Then it just stopped, or it felt like it stopped.
The slow progress. It happens to every single learner without exception.
I almost quit. I thought maybe English isn't for me. Maybe I've reached my limit.
That thought is a lie your brain tells you when things get hard. The slow progress feels like nothing is happening, but something absolutely is.
What's actually happening underneath?
In the early months, you learn visible things, new words, new rules, easy to see. At the slow progress, the brain is doing invisible work, strengthening pathways, organizing everything it knows, preparing for the next level.
Seeing the slow progress as preparation instead of failure, that reframe changed everything for me. What is the practical action?
Change something. Your brain has adapted to your current method. It is no longer being challenged. Try new content, new partners, a new approach. The brain grows when it faces something new.
And look back. Listen to yourself from month 1. I did that and I was genuinely shocked. I had improved so much without realizing it. Sometimes the proof of progress is behind you, not in front of you. One more problem, and this one holds people back even when their vocabulary and grammar are actually quite good. Translating in your head before you speak.
The translation habit. You think in your native language, translate the sentence, then speak. The result is slow and unnatural because two languages are built differently.
I could see people watching me think. There was this long pause. Inside my head, I had so much to say, but by the time I translated, the moment was gone.
The only cure is thinking in English, and I know that sounds like a huge task.
Where do you even start?
The smallest things. You look at a chair, you think chair. You feel cold, you think I am cold. You see a bird, you think there is a bird. Tiny English first moments, dozens of times a day, gradually rewire the brain.
When did you start actually thinking in English rather than translating?
Gradually, over about a year. The first sign was dreaming in English, just words and fragments, then single phrases, then whole stretches of thought. It does not arrive all at once.
It seeps in slowly, like water through stone. That's the most honest description of fluency I've ever heard. Before we close, do something right now, while you're still listening. Think about the one problem from today that felt most like your story.
Was it studying but never speaking? The vocabulary trap? Grammar obsession? The plateau? You know which one it was. You felt it when we talked about it.
Now here's your assignment. Just one. Take that problem, take its solution, and do it every single day for 7 days. Not all 8 at once, just one.
7 days is not a long time, but if you actually do it, you'll feel a real shift. And that shift gives you energy for the next 7 days. That's how this works.
The people who become fluent aren't the most talented. They're simply the ones who kept showing up, day after day, even when it was hard, even when nobody was watching.
And you're already showing up. Right now, by finishing this episode, you're doing what most people never do. Let that mean something.
Before you go, one small request. If this episode gave you even one thing that helped, hit the like button right now. That one tap helps us reach more learners who are stuck and need exactly what you just heard.
And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe right now. Every episode is built the same way. Real problems, honest conversations, practical solutions. No filler.
Leave a comment. Write one English sentence. Which problem felt most like you? Which solution are you going to try? One sentence in English is real practice.
The comment section here is one of the kindest places I've ever seen. Learners from all over the world supporting each other. If you've never commented before, today is the day. We read every single one.
And if you know someone trying to learn English and feeling stuck, share this episode with them. One share from you could change their entire journey.
In episode 3, we tackle talking about time, daily routines, and present and past tense. Once you can talk about your day in English, you can connect with almost anyone, anywhere. Don't miss it.
Last challenge before you close. Say one English sentence right now. Any sentence. Today was a good day. I am learning English. I will not give up. Say it. That sentence is proof you've already begun.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, and we'll see you in episode 3. Keep going. You're closer than you think.